Hello everyone, and welcome to another TI team preview. And this one's going to be talking about the Phoenix from the Philippines, TNC Predator. TNC's stock in the Dota 2 scene has been on the rise over the last couple of years after their big breakout performance at TI6, where they eliminated tournament favorite OG and were ultimately eliminated from the tournament in an amazing series against the runner-ups, Digital Chaos. Since TI6, TNC have cemented themselves as a consistent presence in the international Dota 2 scene, routinely qualifying for major tournaments and Valve majors and making the last 3 TIs. They are also 2-time WESG tournament champions and use that massive prize money influx to take drastic strides in improving their brand in the SEA region. The story of TNC over the last couple of seasons is very much like the Phoenix that is their mascot, filled with many highs, but also many lows and periods of regrowth. This DPC season was no different for TNC, as they began the year with a very solid 5th to 6th place showing at the Kuala Lumpur Major, only to crash and burn in the flames of controversy entering the second major of the season. Forced to play with a stand-in at the Chongqing Major by Valve due to Cuckoo's use of racial slurs during a game, significantly stalled the momentum that TNC had been looking to build after their great placement at Kuala Lumpur. In fact, it would be nearly 7 months before we saw them at another DPC event, as they were unable to qualify for the next 2 majors and missed both of the minors as well. It was not all doom and gloom though for TNC, as they were able to claim their second WESG championship and also had a couple of good showings at ESL 1 events around the world. Still, for a team so used to being near the top of their region, this must have been a trying and scary time for the TNC boys, as there were definitely questions whether they would even make it to TI through DPC points. Even after a roster shuffle in which they replaced their captain and position 5 player Ninja Boogie with AU, the results still didn't turn around, and it was only on April 26th when it was announced that Heen, the former coach of Team Liquid during their TI7 championship, would be joining the roster, that things started to change. This is certainly not to knock the team. They are a group of incredibly high-skilled players. Many of them have been at the top or near the top of the SEA leaderboard, but they are a group that thrives on swarming hyper-aggression. TNC is a team that is always on the hunt, and they will try to squeeze out as many kills and as many objectives from every situation possible that they can completely run over weaker teams or ones that are unprepared for this style of play. They're like a caged tiger ready to pounce on any member of the enemy team who strays too far from the herd. However, this style of play does make them prone to overextensions and unnecessary aggression that can cost them games that would certainly be won by a more disciplined team. Since their inception, TNC has desperately needed to learn when to ease off the acceleration from time to time, and I think that Coach Heen could potentially be a secret weapon in this regard. He is a calming influence in and of himself, but has also spent the last 2 years working with one of the most stable and reliable captains in the entire game in Kuroki. So it is no surprise that in the months following Heen's addition to the roster that TNC have looked like a more polished, more disciplined team. Drafting has always been one of the weaknesses of the SEA region in general, and I think that Heen adds an extra layer of strategy to a team that has routinely won games off of their instincts and mechanical skills, and that makes them incredibly dangerous heading into TI9. Consistency has always been the major weakness for TNC, and the International is the most brutal tournament at exposing this kind of weakness. It will be interesting to watch them throughout the course of the event to see whether they have had enough time to gel as a roster and whether Heen can add enough of that stabilizing force for them to reach that next level. In the past, TNC has been a bit exploitable when it comes to their style because they really thrive at being aggressive, but tend to falter when they're forced to play a slower paced game. If their pubs heading into TI are any indication, TNC will definitely be leaning on that aggressive playstyle to carry them through the event. We see Tim's picking up a lot of the classic 4s, Treant Protector, Enigma, Shadow Shaman, as well as some more interesting ones like Mirana, which has become quite a popular pick for roaming 4 roles. Cuckoo continues to thrive on space-creating heroes such as Batrider, Beastmaster, and Enchantress, as well as the initiators such as Earthshaker and Axe. We're sure to see Gabby on a bunch of safe lane Alchemist unless it's banned, as well as the fighting carry heroes like PA, Slark, and Juggernaut. On a team of wildcards, Armel is likely the wildest of them all, and he has probably the highest skill ceiling as well. Practicing heroes like Alchemist, Arc Warden, and Clinks a lot in his pubs recently. He can always fall back on classics such as Kunkka as well as TA, and he's even been playing some Broodmother as well. Generally, as Armel's game goes, so does TNC's. So pay attention to this kid. He's really good, and he's definitely my X factor on this squad.